Hi everyone. It's a beautiful afternoon here, breezy afternoon at the beach, and I just want to talk about a few topics or areas of divine compensation. Marianne Williamson wrote a book, The Law of Divine Compensation, on work, money, and miracles. And so a few of the things that she talks about in there, and some other stuff that I might add on my own, is dedicating our work to holy purposes. She says, use whatever wealth enters your life as a means of blessing others, not harming others. And keeping a holy mind, prayer and meditation. She says the universe is like a house wired for electricity, but too often we are like unplugged lamps. And when we meditate or pray, our nervous system gets quiet, peaceful, and our anxious thoughts are exchanged for peaceful thoughts. Our thinking becomes clearer and brighter. And another aspect of it is purity of heart. Purity of heart. And I think about what Jesus said about being as a child, becoming as a child. You know, before all the conditioning and the stories and the ego and all of that sort of muddies the waters or muddies the light of the heart. So purity of heart, it doesn't mean that we're perfect or we never make a mistake or something like that. Marianne says it's a miracle worker's greatest engine of wealth creation, having a pure heart. Being grateful for what we already have, gratitude, counting our blessings. That changes our vibration. So you know, we begin resonating with a different state, perhaps a different state of compensation. Cleaning up whatever we need to clean up with regards to, for example, most people, if not all people, once you reach a certain age, have had a painful experience that's tied to money, whether it's a job or being taken advantage of or whatever it might be. So if you take a look at that, you know, a situation or a memory or something that needs to be cleaned up with regards to that, we ask, what was my part in creating that problem? Or what was my part in creating that issue that's tied to money? I could use an example that comes to mind for myself right now. I can ask myself, what was my part in creating this issue, this precarious survival situation that I'm in at this moment? And I can trace it back, if I look at it honestly, to trusting the wrong people or the wrong person, putting my faith outside of myself in someone else and what they promised me. And I took actions based on that trust and that faith. I took certain actions which ultimately led me to this moment that I'm at now. Now, you know, be clear, there's no judgment or blame there at all. We're each just playing, you know, our own these roles with one another. So it's not judgment or blame. It's just it's taking responsibility, whatever that looks like for you. And then you ask, you know, who do I need to forgive? And that can include yourself. And what is there left to clean up? And another aspect of purity of heart is allowing ourselves to desire what we desire, to want what we want, to love what we love. You know, to ask for things, to desire things. And I don't mean necessarily material things or objects. It's not asking too much. You know, because I think a lot of times people might think, I don't deserve that, or I don't deserve a better life, or I don't, or I need to do this or that in order to achieve that, or to get that, or to want that, or, whatever. But it's not asking too much. It's not asking too much to be our beingness and to vibrate at a quote higher level or consciousness, to allow ourselves to receive, to be open to receiving. Nothing wrong with that at all. So when we live with integrity and honesty and purity of heart and intention, and not taking advantage of others, or trying to make money at the expense of others, or coming up with schemes or something like that, and when we're giving our gifts to the world without any kind of attachment to results or to expectations, I think that we become a clearer, more open channel, a clearer station, or transmitting, receiving station, a clearer, more open vessel. And as our vibration shifts, we attract and receive, that which vibrates in kind, in like kind. Another aspect is don't carry guilt. No guilt, not allowed. No guilt, okay? Because guilt is simply just an attachment to the past. Okay, it's gone. The past is over and done with. Marianne says, miracles transcend time and space. In the present moment, mistakes of the past are undone. And they are. Because in the present moment, there is no past or future. The mind just wants to hold on to these things and hold on to, whether it's guilt or some kind of grievance or disappointment or anger, resentment, or, wanting justice or vengeance or whatever it is. Or even thinking in terms or wanting someone to have quote unquote karma, as in a negative sense, like in a retribution sense. That's attachment. That's holding on to the past. Okay? And that's outside of being present with what is. Marianne was saying that in A Course in Miracles it says we can have a grievance or we can have a miracle, but we can't have both. We can have a grievance or we can have a miracle, but we can't have both. So we can be love, we can live in love, live as love, be love, or we can be attached to the past and, grievance or anger or fear or whatever it might be. But we can't have both. We can't be both at the same time. Or like Larry Crane likes to say with the release technique, you can't stand up and sit down at the same time. And he says that you can't have and want at the same time. In want, in terms of want equals lack. So, this is a quote from The Law of Divine Compensation. We may have made mistakes in our past, but we're not bound by those mistakes in the present. As long as we're willing to think now as we did not think then, act now as we did not act then, clean up in the present what needs to be cleaned up from the past, and be now who we were not then. And lastly, I'll just leave you with this thought about transcending fear. Transcending fear. Marianne was saying that she talks about ego in the Transcending Fear chapter, and she was saying, ego is simply a mortal hallucination. A mortal hallucination. And it is. It's the absence of love. So it's like, saying darkness is the absence of light. So, if you go turn on the light switch, the darkness disappears. So fear is the absence of love, or even the ego is the absence of love. Hugh Prather says that the ego is just our shabby self-image. So the more we turn on love, the more we are love, the more we be love, our own nature, consciousness, the more the ego disappears. The more we are our truth, the less the lie. So the less mental or mortal hallucination, the more clarity, the more clear a vessel, the more clear a sending and receiving channel we are. And that comes down to keeping a holy mind, keeping a holy mind. So keep a holy mind, dedicate your life, your work to holy purposes, pray, meditation, be pure of heart. Don't carry attach or carry any grievances or guilt or anger, resentment, disappointments. Let them go, let them go, let them go. They don't exist in the present moment anyway. Transcend fear. Be the love that you are. Just be your very own beingness, consciousness, love. Until next time, peace and blessings. Oh, here's the book. I'll show you the book. There it is. That's the cover. The Law of Divine Compensation.